Welcome to another edition of Hawk Off the Press after the final score. I'm your Hawkeye beat reporter, John Steppe, joined by the one and only Mike Hlas. And that game was rather one and only as well. A unique one. You had Padilla not really have a great game, but some of that's probably his drops. You had an Illinois team that usually doesn't throw the ball well that threw for 248 yards.
Yeah, it was a third straight week of rope-a-dope, really. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, looking at this 3-week run of wins, it's a cliche to say winning ugly, but what else would you call it?
Oh, yeah, none of these have been pretty.
No, but yet, there they are, 6-2 in the Big Ten. One win from having a chance if Wisconsin loses to Minnesota Saturday.
Yeah.
Going to the Big Ten title game.
Came very close to Iowa controlling their destiny.
Well, yeah, except nobody's going to assume a win at Nebraska. I mean, you'd be insane to do that. I don't care if Nebraska's 3-8.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
With Wisconsin.
No,
How much the Badgers got to run for their money.
The Iowa got outgained by 120 some yards last week by Minnesota. They got outgained by 57 yards today to a bad Illinois offense. Iowa's offense just continues to be hard to watch, and yet the team continues to find ways to win. And I don't want to overstate the offense thing because they did rush for 172 yards, which means they controlled the field position, they controlled the tempo of the game, and they kept themselves out of a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So they did get some good things from their offense, but for 3.5 quarters, this thing was in doubt.
And I think everyone kind of had this hope that Alex Padilla would be this magic pill to fix the offensive issues. But he was 6 for 17, and even when you take out the 6 drops, okay, and every offense is going to have some drops. So you can't really assume a 0-drop game. But even if somehow the wide receivers caught all 6 passes, it'd still be 12 for 17, which you'd say, oh, that's pretty good, but not.
No, the passing game just wasn't right. And I mean, and 6 out of 18 total is brutal. 83 yards is brutal.
Yeah.
But they won, and they won because they do have a good defense and because they do have stellar special teams. I saw LeVar Woods came out of the tunnel with his place kicker and his holder and his long snapper, and they posed for photos. The last home game, presumably for some of those guys.
Definitely for Caleb Shudak.
Yeah,
he doesn't have any other option.
And it's like, they should be getting more than just taking their pictures. They should be getting, lifted on people's shoulders and carried around the stadium. Shudak was fantastic. He's been great all year. The unit's been great. And Charlie Jones saves their bacon with the touchdown return.
Oh, yeah. Easily, probably the biggest play of the day. Well, it's hard to get bigger than a 100-yard kick return.
Yeah, but I mean, it's doing that anytime is big. But they were down 10-0, and it was looking grim.
Yeah, because it was 10-0 that could have easily been 14-0.
Right, and you're not convinced Iowa can play catch-up. Well, playing catch-up from 10-7 is a lot easier deal.
Yeah.
And once Jones did that, it changed the way the game felt, and it injected some life into Iowa, and away the Hawkeyes went.
And the only real bad play on special teams was that punt with the bad snap and Torrey not able to keep it in front of him. Kirk Ferentz made the joke of how he didn't play baseball growing up in Australia. So that was really the one hiccup there for special teams. And then the defense saved the special teams bacon on that one with that 3-and-out.
And the defense, I mean, you hold any team to 312 yards in Division I football, you should be fine. But most importantly, that Illinois didn't establish a running game at all. And this is something the Illini have been good at times this season, especially when they won at Penn State and they won at Minnesota. Their running game was very good. At Penn State, it was sensational. Here, it did nothing.
Yeah, no, That was probably the most incredible thing for me looking at that stat sheet. 64 yards on 25 carries.
Yeah. And by Iowa stifling the run and running the ball effectively itself, it dominated time of possession, and that was a big deal in this game.
Yeah.
And then the defense. I counted 10 Illinois possessions where they didn't have a first down. One of those 10, they got a field goal. They got that great field position you talked about with the botched punt. And 3 plays got 0 yards, and they kick a field goal. 9 other possessions were either 3 and out or a 4 and out or a turnover.
Yeah.
That's sensational. That is sensational defense.
I think it was 8 of the last 10 drives for Illinois did not result in points.
Yeah, and there were several that didn't result in positive yardage.
Yeah.
So that kind of defense will keep you in any kind of game, and that's why I was 9-2. It's got defense, it's got special teams.
Yeah, that's how they're going to do it, and it'll be an interesting game against Nebraska, with that offense that they have there. And Nebraska's been in it for so many games.
Oh, gosh. Again today, they lose by 1 score. That was 1 score today, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Incredible. If you look at Nebraska's stats and compare them to Iowa's, you'd say which team is 9-2 and which is 3-8. You know what? If you didn't know and you had a cover over their won-loss records, and if it was just Team A, Team B, you'd take the one that was Nebraska.
Yeah, when you're looking at just offense, you absolutely would.
Yeah. But Nebraska doesn't win, and this Iowa team has won. I mean, it just simply has. And, hats off to them. Some years, you talk about style points and you just don't have any, and it doesn't matter. You won. Some year, I've seen college football teams that you couldn't turn away from because they were so entertaining, and then at the end of the year they're 7-6, and well, what was that?
Yeah. This is pretty much the complete opposite of that team.
It is. And if they win Friday in Lincoln, they're 10-2.
Yeah.
10-2.
I think when you look at the schedule that Iowa had and where teams they thought were going to be, granted, Indiana, that win seemed like it was going to be a lot bigger of a deal early on. Iowa State, also a disappointing team. But if somebody said going in, hey, you're going to go 10-2, I think most people would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, of course, they're 9-2. So it's crossed fingers with those people. But, nobody was saying Iowa was going to go 12-0 this year in August. Nobody was. No. Why would you? But you would have said that 10-2 would be maybe maximizing your potential. Well, now maybe you wouldn't say that, or maybe you would. But it doesn't matter. The numbers in the win column are what teams are judged on forever. Yeah. And they've got a chance to go 10-2.
Not a bad ring to that one.
Well, we're going to have a lot to talk about on Friday. I just know it because it's if it's anything like the last 3 weeks, it's going to be weird.
Yes. Well, I will end this with that note. Another weird, one-of-a-kind game. So I will be back with an edition of Hawk Off the Press with the shortened week. And then Mike and I will be back for After the Final Score Friday from Lincoln. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk Hawks later.